Hello guys, it's D to the B here with my friend L to the C.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about the new teaser trailer for Shrek 5. Now, here's a bit of an essay. So, originally I was not for the movie. I thought it was a waste of time. I felt like Shrek didn't need to have another sequel. But then Puss in Boots: The Last Wish came out, and my hope for Shrek 5 was up really high. I thought, man, if Puss in Boots: The Last Wish managed to keep the original style and have a new style at the same time and be epic, who knows what Shrek 5 could be like. This could be amazing. And then we got the teaser itself. So, the teaser itself we might as well discuss. So, it first opens up with the magic mirror, and Donkey's asking the lions who's the fairest of them all. And the magic mirror is like Shrek, of course. And we get probably the worst part, in my opinion, in this trailer. And that is references to all the Shrek memes. So, for context, for those who are apparently not aware of these memes, because I know L the C is one of these people, apparently in like 2010 or something like that, there was a whole Shrek meme thing. It became relevant again. It was like Shrek forever, or Shrek We Trust. I can't remember what exactly the meme was, but Shrek was everywhere. There was even a meme called the Shreksaphone. I'm not even kidding. And he just became a big meme culture, and that's probably why they even suggested making a Shrek 5. So then we eventually had the announcement of Shrek 5, which we found out that Illumination would be taking over for animation, which unfortunately explains a lot. Now, getting on back to the memes, the reason I hate this is because I'm particularly not a fan of media shoving like modern social media platforms into shows, especially when it's forced. I just think it just comes off as, oh, we're trying to get hip with the kids. See, we're hip, man. We got TikTok in here. We got a Twitter here too. We got Snapchat. I couldn't resist. But it always feels weird when media does that. Like, I think social media should stay out of TV and movies, unless of two reasons. One, you have the most brilliant writing to make it work, or B, you make parody versions of those social media apps instead of having the actual thing. And even with, like, let's say the YouTube references in, like, the early 2010s, they were pretty tame. Like, I remember one Scooby-Doo movie, I don't remember which one, where there was, like, a YouTube reference or a site that was similar to YouTube on there, but they just acknowledged it. It was something in the background. It wasn't like Velma going like, oh, I'm going to post on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to play some Five Nights at Freddy's. Nothing like that. I know I'm just mocking social media, and I should be one to talk since I'm literally on YouTube right now talking about a Shrek trailer. Now, before anyone brings it up, yes, I know one of Shrek's things in the earlier movies was pop culture references. But I think this is taking it too far, in my opinion. Now, let's have L to the C discuss his thoughts on the TikTok parody.
My thoughts on the TikTok parody? Not a good idea. I mean, once I saw the trailer for this, I'm like, oh, a Shrek 5 trailer, it may be good. I don't know if I want to see this movie. I don't know. I still have big questions. And what also made me question it also was when Fiona's like, "Ooh, mommy, likey," or whatever. I'm like,
I mean,
okay.
I like Donkey,
I like Shrek, but if they're gonna shove this much,
I like Donkey, I like Shrek,
but if
crap
they're
in
gonna
here,
shove this much,
it's gonna go downhill.
Crap in
Yeah,
here?
exactly.
It's
So,
gonna go downhill.
Why don't we get into the design since
yeah,
LTC
exactly.
brought it up? So,
the design.
why don't we get into the design since
Let's start with
LTC
Shrek.
brought
I
it
think
up?
he's fine for the most
designs.
Let's
Now,
start
there
with
are
Shrek.
some
I
simple
think he's fine
changes
for the
that you
most
can make to
part.
Shrek.
Now,
Without
there are
changing
some
the model,
simple
I know people have been
changes that you
saying
can make to
Shrek. You need to do the
without
Sonic
changing
treatment
the model.
right
I know
away.
people have been
I think
saying,
that's a little much. You need to
because
do the
not
Sonic
everything
treatment
is terrible.
right
Now,
away.
yes, there are some
I think that's a
designs that
little
I'm like,
much. Yeah, do the Sonic
because
effect.
not everything is terrible. Now, yes,
But
there are some designs that I'm
granted,
like,
yeah, do the Sonic effect immediately. But granted, I'll get back into that for a bit. So the only thing I would probably change for Shrek is make his nose more indented and his eyes a bit wider out, because here's an image that somebody showed me on Twitter, and this honestly looks a bit better. And why didn't you go with this? Again, we'll get back into that. Then we get Donkey, who unfortunately had the worst of it, or at least one of the worst in my opinion. At least Shrek still looks like Shrek. Donkey, on the other hand, looks skinnier than he needs to be, and also his hair is way frizzier than he already was. Now, I don't hate the concept of updating the characters. Like, the animation of the original Shrek movies is definitely dated. Granted, I still think they look great to this day, but you gotta be careful. You gotta make sure to keep the style the way it is.
I still think the Shrek animation from the old movies look a lot better than the animation that we're seeing now.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. It's a change of animation studio, so I can't blame you there. It might take a while to get used to, but at the same time, it's like, no, these are not great. And then we get to see Felicia, I'm pretty sure her name is, Shrek's daughter. Now, I will give credit where it's due for this movie. They had the courage to age up the kids, or at least Felicia, because I remember hearing when Despicable Me 4 came out that they made the claim that Marco, Edith, and Agnes, they never want to age those characters and keep it something like The Simpsons where they never age, which is honestly very stupid. He eventually retracted this statement, but it's still unbelievably stupid that he said that. So, why don't I get back to the designs again? Yeah, Felicia is not looking great either. Like, her head is too squashed. Somebody described it as she looks like a tomato, which is so accurate. Her head is just as flat as a tomato. Hello, Editing D to the B here, and I figure I commentate on Fiona. The original audio, I was saying how they screwed up Fiona, that her head was too small, but looking back, it hasn't really changed that much. The only thing that's different about Fiona is how the animation looks, and also a friend of mine pointed out to me that her lips are off, which now looking at it, yeah, they totally are off. So I figure I'd put a update on the Fiona design. Now looking back on the original, it doesn't look that bad anymore. Still not great, but not bad. Anyway, let's move on to the rest of the video. The last design, Pinocchio. What did they do I mean, I don't get why they changed the animation style. I know I'm advocating, like, the animation style might just be the worst of it. But at the same time, we had Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which managed to keep the original style but modernize it in a good way. Why did you change it? And unfortunately, this is going to be the start of DreamWorks working with other studios and no longer DreamWorks animating these films. Unfortunately, Dogman was the last installment of a originally animated DreamWorks movie without another studio doing the animation. And it is just sad. But going back to Pinocchio, I'm like, your cheeks are way too big. Your cheeks are bigger than your forehead. Like, did Pinocchio's brain just fall into his cheeks? Is that why they're so big?
I didn't know that until you just said that. Because I did see the little trailer. And I'm like, poor Fiona, poor donkey. And I'm like, who in the heck did this animation?
Now, that's another point that I need to get into. Because I also found out very interesting information from a Hollywood source on the internet. Apparently, this teaser was supposed to release, according to this source. Might be true, it might not be. I don't know, I don't care. Apparently, it sounds like this teaser might have been rushed to an extreme because apparently Zendaya's lines for the teaser got leaked. Somebody had the files, so they were like, oh, let's release it earlier. Because apparently, also according to the source, it was supposed to release on December of this year. It wasn't supposed to release when it did. So there might be a chance that the reason this doesn't look great is because the audio files of Zendaya doing Shrek's daughter were leaked before the thing was even thought of. I'm hoping that's the reason. There might be also a chance they've been shelving this until December or whenever they were going to release it. I'm hoping it's what the source says, but it's really hard to tell with this stuff anymore. Like, it's really hard. Now, for me, I'm going to see this movie regardless. I definitely think we need Shrek in this era because, like, Disney has fallen to such a big extreme. Like, originally, when Shrek was created, it was to mock Disney because the owner or the boss of DreamWorks used to work for Disney or Pixar, I can't remember which one, and he made his own studio to compete with Disney, and then Shrek was a great way to make fun of Disney and their common tropes. And now knowing that Disney is in the deepest part of the gutter is the perfect chance to make fun of Disney. And if you play your cards right, you could possibly have a good Shrek movie that could just be good and have its original charm. I think this is the perfect time to have it. But unfortunately, this does not look good. And maybe if this report is true and it was like more phoned in or rushed last second, they could probably have the animation update the animation a little bit so it looks a bit better. Something similar to Sonic, but not to the extreme because, of course, this is still another animation studio, and unfortunately DreamWorks is not going to be animating any more movies on their own ever again. It makes me sad, but I mean, as long as they keep they're good writing. I guess I can tolerate it. But I really hope this movie does good. We need this movie to do good. There's just too much at stake at the moment. And unfortunately, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish hyped us up too much. So, yeah, I'm not impressed with what I'm seeing. I'm generally worried for this movie because we need it. We need it bad. But anyway, how do you feel about the new Shrek 5 teaser? Did you surprisingly love the animation of it? Or do you feel like the animation could have been way better? Tell me in the comments. And have a nice day, everyone.
Bye, everyone.